What's up everyone, this is FP Sticks bringing you some more Go Battle League battles here in the Great League, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some footage using a Pokemon that is banned in GBL. So PIDGEOT got access to the new move Feather Dance, and apparently there was a glitch going around where if you didn't have the updated version of the app or something like that, and your opponent used a Feather Dance Pidgeot, sometimes it would crash your game. And so Pidgeot is now banned in Go Battle League until Niantic figures out how to fix their game. But I did record some battles with Pidgeot when I was using it in Go Battle League before it was banned. So I wanted to showcase this team here. Pretty fun, kind of a double normal team with Pidgeot and Vigoroth, but Vigoroth is going to be the safe swap. Medicham is going to be the hard counter to any steel types there in the back. And you can see the movesets and IVs on the screen. So let's jump right into these battles. The Feather Dance guaranteed attack drop is absolutely insane. A 2-stage attack debuff, 100% chance. Yes, it does not do that much damage, but to have a 100% chance at a 2-stage attack debuff is pretty wild. I do prefer Power Up Punch Medicham if you're using Medicham in the back as a hard counter to steel types, and it's because of matchups like this. If your opponent switches in like a Registeel, a G-Fisk, or a Bastiodon, something that Medicham can really hard farm and ramp up, it's sometimes even worth it to commit a shield in that matchup and ramp up, totally farm down, and then be able to rip off a bunch of boosted damage. So I actually immediately go back into Pidgeot here because I know that my opponent is in a really tough spot. They led Meganium, and so essentially Pidgeot is going to have play against their entire team. So I'm going to go for the Feather Dance debuff here. And it really does not do that much damage, but it actually allows me to farm one more Gust. And then I'm just going to go straight for the Feather Dance debuffs here. You can see really not doing that much damage, even though it's hitting for super effective. But that the attack drop is just so painful for the opponent. We actually see CMP tied right here, and just for science, I let this go through, and I survive a Frenzy Plant. Pidgeot is pretty glassy, and so, but the Meganium was quad debuffed at that point, and so easily tanked the Frenzy Plant, and you can see it's just hardly doing any damage. Very favorable team comp for me there. I definitely had good alignment the whole time, and Pidgeot had a lot of play against that team. Alright, Pidgeot into Umbreon. I have two better responses to this in the back, so most likely I will make a swap out of this at some point, maybe Brave Bird and leave, because Vigoroth and Medicham both are significantly better responses to this. So I'm going to overfarm and then throw this Brave Bird to guarantee that I'm not stuck in a CMP tie, and then I'll make the move into Vigoroth. They have a Toxicroak, so I'm really glad that I made this swap, because honestly the Vigoroth Toxicroak matchup, you can get shields here, or if they try to farm you all the way down, you can sometimes even win this matchup with a slight energy advantage. So they're gonna let that go through, that's fine. I was really hoping that one Gust would take out this Toxicroak, so I bring out my Pidgeot, Gust goes through. I'm gonna shield this up because I would like to preserve some health on this Pidgeot, because if I can get my opponent in a situation where they only have one Pokemon remaining, and then I just debuff it with all these Feather Dances, yeah, it's actually a Lantern, but at this point I'm just going to throw a Brave Bird, and Medicham should easily be able to finish the job here. I can pretty much just go straight Power Up Punch and ramp up my counters, and then counter down everything. So they are going to throw the Thunderbolt. I will shield this up. I really wanted to be able to counter them down here, but they're able to get to another Thunderbolt, which is not great. And their Umbreon has loaded energy, so they combo play me right here, which was a really nice play on their part. So I'm just going to farm down the Umbreon and then farm down the Lantern and take that game. Good game. Pidgeot into Medicham. Decent lead here because I'm hitting for super effective, and they switch into a Charm Ninetales. I do not have a response to this, so I'm going to Feather Dance this thing. going to Feather Dance and then get into my Vigoroth here. And because of this attack debuff, this is pretty crazy. The Charms and the Weather Balls are doing so little damage now that I can farm this all the way down, leave this matchup with maximum stored energy and minimum health to be farmed by the Medicham. So very good situation for me. Gonna throw a Body Slam here. I know that the Medicham is just gonna tank all of these moves. Looks like no counters went through on both of these Body Slams, which is kind of a miracle. Not gonna be able to get to another one, but that's fine. Gonna bring out the PIDGEOT once again. And it's worth keeping PIDGEOT alive, because if you, once again, get your opponent in a scenario where they only have one Pokemon remaining like this, you can just debuff it a whole bunch. And so I'm going to throw a Feather Dance here. And I'm going to keep this PIDGEOT alive and just continue to Feather Dance, I think. But this is pretty brutal for my opponent because their Mandibuzz is really not going to be able to do anything. This was even a CMP tie, so they're throwing to get rid of me. And then they have 2 shields, but it doesn't matter because my Medicham is just going to counter them all the way down. There is no point in throwing a charge move here, even if it's Power Up Punch, because that's just giving them an opportunity to shield it and potentially get a free fast move in. You can see how little damage these aerial aces are doing, despite hitting for super effective. Quad debuffed, this Mandibuzz is just having a rough time, so I'm able to counter that down. Good game. PIDGEOT into Skarm. Not good because Skarmory is resisting all of the flying type damage. Skarmory is actually a very tough lead for this team, but I would still just go straight into Vigoroth. They bring out a Shadow Machamp, which is also very bad for me. And now look at this weird desync, this weird like random fast moves that get through. My opponent got a counter through on my shield and then got another counter through, so I wasn't able to get to that Body Slam, which was really, really bad for me. So I'm going to ramp up with this Medicham here. Normally Vigoroth is able to get to that second Body Slam, but because of that lag, it really puts me in a bad spot here. And I just concede the match there anyways, because I was not too thrilled with that secondary matchup. Good game. Alright, PIDGEOT into Medicham. Once again, we've seen this play out. They actually bring out Mew. So I'm going to stay in, build up to the Brave Bird energy, and then bluff the Feather Dance. But eventually I want to make a move into my Vigoroth. And that's what I'm going to do right here. Because of this attack debuff, these wild charges are really not that threatening. But I think this is the matchup where I make a terrible play and I get way too greedy. Yeah, I'm getting way too greedy. All I need to do here is shield. So I've just given up switch advantage for absolutely no reason. No reason. I thought that maybe they would have surfed me there and I would have barely survived. Because it's Bastiodon in the back. Literally all I needed to do was just throw the Body Slam sooner or just shield once and farm down. And this game is just straight up an easy win con based on my alignment. But that's a prime example of me just playing way too greedy, making very basic mistakes and throwing this game. And my opponent no shielded my first Power Up Punch bait. And they also no shielded. I did these battles on stream, so who knows, but both of my Power Up Punches, my first 2 Power Up Punches where I built up the Psychic energy, they no shielded both of those. And if I would have landed either of those Psychics, that also would have been a good game for me. So everything was going wrong there. And unfortunately, there's just, I'm not going to be able to take out this Bastiodon. I went for the Brave Bird for more chip damage. Maybe I should have went for the Feather Dance, because then that would have allowed me to survive this Flamethrower. Yeah, I think that definitely was the play, and then I had to counter down. So I had multiple opportunities to win there, and I threw all of those chances, unfortunately. Good game to my opponent. PIDGEOT into Galv. Galv is another issue for this team. So I shield this up, and of course they go for Lunge, which is not great. So I'm going to go for Feather Dance. They get an extra Volt switch through. And so I'm going to switch into Vigoroth here. I wanted to try to snipe them, but they're able to get a move off. That's alright. Hard punished by Medicham, never good, because especially when my Vigoroth is this low of health, this is going to be tough, because they can farm all the way down and leave this with a lot of stored energy, and this makes it much more difficult for my Pidgeot to hang with this. So most likely I do bring out the Pidgeot, and I just hope that they go for Power Up Punch here. But they went for Ice Punch. Great play. I'm in a terrible position here. I'm really hoping that it's a G-Fisk in the back. That is definitely a possibility. So I shield up the Psychic. That's good for me. I'm just going to go for this Psychic here. I was hoping that they would just let their Medicham go, but that is not the case. So they're definitely weak to my Medicham in the back. I'm going to get hit by another Psychic. This is terrible. It did end up being a G-Fisk, so I did call the team correctly while I was battling this. But unfortunately, that Galvantula put in a lot of work against my team. Potentially, if I shield the Pidgeot there and then go for the Feather Dance, I can try to burn shields, but I wasn't at the move quite yet. So they might have gotten to 2 Ice Punches. So well played by my opponent there. Whenever the Vigoroth is hard punished by a Medicham, it's really, really rough. Alright, Nidoqueen in the lead. I get an extra gust through because my opponent threw on alignment. And no reason to shield the first Poison Fang there. I'm just going to go for the Feather Dance. So they're dropping my defense and I'm dropping their attack. And I get another gust through. So I'm just going to let this go down. And I'm able to farm them all the way down. I have a Brave Bird stored. And so I'm anticipating that my opponent might think that this is just a Feather Dance. So I just go straight for the Brave Bird here. And it lands. That is amazing. Medicham is a very solid response to this. Sableye is a little bit of a problem here. But honestly, I can pretty much just go straight Body Slam and Power Up Punch against this. At this point in time, I do need to build up to the Bulldoze energy to at least bluff that. But I'm pretty committed to just going straight Body Slam here, especially when 2 shields are up. So I get the first shield, and then I actually just throw this Body Slam before the Sableye gets to another move, because I just want to put on a lot of shield pressure. And at this point, I can just continue to rip off these Body Slams as soon as I get them. They swap back into Obstagoon, I switch into my Medicham to farm them down, and I can just go straight Power Up Punch here. I do survive 1 foul play, so I no-shielded that first one. And we'll be able to counter down the Sableye there. Good game. That Feather Dance debuff in the lead was pretty nice. It allowed me to farm down the lead and then land a Brave Bird, which is always very favorable for me. Oh my gosh, out comes G-Fisk. So this thing is going to get hard punished by a Pup Medi. I like this team a lot because it hard counters any of the double steal variations. Swamp double steal, Mew double steal, Medi double steal, Venusaur double steal, Pelipper double steal. This team smashes all of those just because you have double counter users in the back. So you can see I'm down a shield in this matchup, but I'm totally okay with that. Because I'm ramped up and left with an energy advantage, I know I'm going to be able to get those shields back. And this Medicham is just going to put a lot of work into their team. They are committing no shields with their Medi here, which I'm very surprised by. And they Power Up Punch baited me, which I'm also extremely surprised by. I'm able to get to another Pup here. And they let that go through as well. And they're just going for another Power Up Punch here, most likely. So, and there's a Bastiodon in the back, and I have like a quad ramped up Medicham here. So Medicham is just going to solo their entire team. Oh man, that was brutal. When you're able to get your Medicham switch locked against a steel type like that, it can really steamroll an entire team there. Nidoqueen in the lead once again. This person threw in the middle of my gust, which I think is the correct way to play this when you're a 2-turn fast move user against a 4-turn. I'm going straight for the Brave Bird this time though. And they let it go. And then they bring out Scrafty. So I switch into Vigoroth here. And they actually end up having a Defense Deoxys. So at this point, I know that Medicham is going to be my win condition. I just need to get this Deoxys low enough to where the Medicham can handle it. So if I can successfully land 2 Body Slams here, I'm in a really good spot. And at this point, I can just straight up power up punch their entire team down. So save both shields for Medicham. They even went for Psycho Boost there, I guess because they wanted to save some energy, but now their counters are even further debuffed. The reason I switched out of the Pidgeot, and I should have made that move a lot sooner, is because I had 2 decent responses to Scrafty, so there was no point in me staying in there and giving them all that free farm. However, I should have reacted a lot faster. This Pidgeot with that low of health really doesn't serve that much of a purpose anymore. But able to farm down the Scrafty and then able to just counter down their Deoxys as well. Good game. Nuking that Nidoqueen with the Brave Bird was kind of nice. Okay, Hypno lead is also tough. Definitely tough because Medicham's really going to struggle against it. Vigoroth actually has like decent neutral play against Hypno despite the counters being resisted just because you outpaced those Body Slams. But I actually got a shield with that Feather Dance, which was great for me. And I did force the CMP. I switch into Vigoroth here to catch this punch because now that Hypno's at low enough health range where Medicham can handle it late game. And they bring out Mandibuzz here, so I'm wondering if this is like a Hypno double dark sort of team. We get some nice weird lag there, but I'm just going to throw this Body Slam. Gonna let this go through. And this is a tough call because I don't have a hard counter to Hypno. So if I go shields down in this matchup, that doesn't really benefit me because Hypno is still going to be an issue. So I let this foul play go through, and then I immediately go back into my Pidgeot, and I'm just going to go for this Feather Dance here and see whether or not my opponent wants to keep their Mandibuzz alive. They let it go through, and then they preserve their Mandibuzz. I'm able to get to this last second Feather Dance here. And down goes the Hypno. It's actually an Azumarill in the back. Very unfortunate for me. This team does not have a hard counter to Azumarill either. It has a neutral play with all 3 of these Pokemon. Pidgeot is not that bad. Vigoroth is not that bad. And honestly, Psychic Medicham is not that bad. But you need shields up to be able to successfully shield those play roughs. So I need to try to catch a move on my Vigoroth here. And that's what I do, but my opponent keeps farming. Very nice play by them. They anticipated the catch. I was not able to execute that there, but pretty fun team. I hope that we're going to be able to use Pidgeot in GBL once again. Man, Niantic, come on, let's figure out the game here and fix this glitch because the Feather Dance debuff is pretty fun to play around. But thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you appreciate the content, and I'll see you all later.